Hello all, this is Halloween, and if you love haunted history and cemeteries as much as I do, you may want to subscribe because I'm going to be taking you somewhere new every week. Today is Veterans Day, and we are making our way out to Sumter County here in Florida. We're going to visit the Bushnell National Cemetery, established in 1988. And of course, we'll be stopping and getting a bite to eat. Enjoy! We're here just down the street from the cemetery at the Riverside Restaurant. It's a very small little restaurant, so hopefully it's good. And look, karaoke night. We probably won't be doing that, but let's go in and get a bite to eat. We have arrived at the Bushnell, Florida National Cemetery in Sumter County, Florida. Established in 1988, this cemetery spans just over 512 acres of land. So there's a lot to see here. Let's go in and see what we can see. This is sort of like the first section as you come in off to the right. What always amazes me the most about these cemeteries, I think, is the precision in which the departed are laid to rest. Just look at how perfect the rows are. It's just kind of incredible. You know, it's so well done. And this is on kind of a hilly ground here. So the fact that these are kept so perfectly in line is pretty incredible. These are all veterans and their spouses, because their spouses can be buried here as well. And there was an instance I was reading about online that, I don't know, it was years ago, but accidentally a widow's ashes were accidentally mixed in with the wrong veteran. So accidents do happen, even in the nicest cemeteries. We are human and we are fallible. So here's a Mary B. Wall. Makes me wonder if she was any relation to the Wall family of Ybor City. Mary B. Wall, April 22nd, 1920 to August 25th, 2012. Loving wife and mother. Stella. Nancy. This is a lot. This is all women. I'm just now noticing in this section. These are the wives, I think. As I was looking on this side, all of the headstones that were facing this way seem to all be women. But as I turn around, some of them are facing towards me this way. So I don't know why that is, but it may have something to do with the exactness of how these bodies are entered here. And the perfect alignment in which they're entered. They may have to like do it a certain way. I don't really know. But it's interesting to say the least. And then over here is a whole different section too, where the headstones are darker. I'm going to go see what that's all about. Traditionally, you see these whiter headstones even in regular cemeteries all over the United States and probably abroad as well. It's a very traditional style of veteran headstone. And they're kind of a white marble or a light gray marble. Over here is a darker marble in this section here, and there's a ton of them, but look at how precise each row is And they're just stacked in there like very close and tight. But that's pretty amazing to me. It just doesn't seem like with just the grounds in general that you'd be able to get them so perfect. But the national cemeteries are like this, and it's just something to behold, because how do they do it? Now you see how these are so close together? There's no space between for an entire body. I think these are ashes buried under the ground here. So these are where there's ashes buried. If I had to guess, that's what this would be here. And here we have the Star of David, Jewish, the cross to signify Christianity. I think the cross with the circle inside may be Orthodox, like a Greek Orthodox or something, Irish Orthodox, something like that. I'm not sure, I'll have to look it up. But basically has, you know, their religion on top of the stone. There's some that don't have anything on top of the stone, like this one over here. These here don't have any, and I guess that just means that they, you know, didn't identify with any specific faith. But this is amazing. This is pretty cool. And here, some are encrypted in the front and in the back. Inscribed in the front and the back of the headstone. So we have a Homer Pipkins here, and the wife on the back. And over here, a wall, a niche. Over here, we have a niche, and this is just behind the darker headstones over there. It's very quiet here today and extremely peaceful. I would have thought that there would be something going on. I don't know if you remember us going to Cedar Key last year. I think it was Memorial Day. I don't think it was Veterans Day. I think it was Memorial Day, and they did a whole thing. They played taps and all of that. It was kind of a big event. Everybody from the neighborhoods, the surrounding neighborhoods, came by in their golf carts, and it was kind of a big deal. It was really cool. And that was a really nice cemetery. Very cool, very old. But so very quiet here. You could hear a pin drop, which is nice. I mean, it is nice. Nice and peaceful. Thank you all for your service. And happy Veterans Day. It's a little dark, huh? Kind of overcast a little bit today, which is good. At least it's not so hot. For November, it's pretty warm in Florida right now. This is quite a big niche, and I saw others, so this is not even the only one. So around 197,262 burials here, I believe, since 1988. So, and there are several notables laid to rest here. I'm not going to be able to find them because that would be like trying to find a needle in a haystack. But for those of you who might want to know, Joe Astroth, Major League Baseball player, is buried here, or laid to rest, and whether he's cremated or not, I don't know. Manuel A. Gomez, New York State Supreme Court Judge. Johnny Gray, another Major League Baseball player. John Orsino, another professional baseball player, and Hank Robenstein, a pro basketball player, are all laid to rest here. This is Mr. Winterbauer, Don A. Winterbauer, Don Allen Winterbauer, Vietnam vet, born 1951, passed in 2007. This is the father of my best friend, Winterbauer, who is featured in some of my videos you might notice. Thank you for your service, Mr. Winterbauer. Your daughter is my very best friend. Thank you so much for bringing her into the world. And it's so nice to see you this Veterans Day. And your daughter will be watching. I call her Winterbauer. So, nice to meet you, Mr. Winterbauer. Wish I could have met you while you were still here. It's kind of cool they have these like very tall shrubs with little archways through them that you can walk straight through to other parts of the cemetery, which, I mean, shade is much needed right now. It's kind of hot outside today, but it's just really pretty the way it's done. And then there's these little walkways. It's a national park pretty much, so little benches you can sit on that are dedicated to some of the departed. Here it says, dedicated to all retired enlisted military personnel. Dedicated to the memory of all American veterans who have fought for and served their country with pride and honor. It's just pretty how through the openings in the shrubs and greenery you can see more rows of the headstones. It's very pretty how they have it done. We're probably gonna have to get our truck and drive to the section that my uncle's buried in. But there is so much here. Just so many plots. How the path just winds around, and it's hilly and it's green and it's beautifully landscaped. Just a really nice cemetery. This would be great even if you're not really into cemeteries, but if you just want to come and have a really peaceful and quiet walk, clear your mind, get some exercise, this would be a great place to do it. There's all these little areas, and then there's larger areas. This is one of the smaller areas. But you can see too that there's still a lot of land here left for interment. So there's a few motorcycles that are riding around here destroying the peace. I mean, it's super peaceful and quiet. There's like 4 or 5 motorcycles that are just riding around in here. I'm sure they came to see somebody, but still, I mean, it's like geometrically perfect how these tombstones are placed. That's something I just can't get over. But if you look at any national cemetery in the country, that's how it's laid out. And it's really cool. Almost significant to the way you get information when you're in the military. You know, you line up like perfectly. Everything's perfect. You're in perfect form, and that's the way the cemetery is. That's what it reminds me of. And that may be exactly why they do it. You're in that military formation. Hadn't really looked into that or given it a whole lot of thought, but it makes sense. My husband just went to pick up the truck because we're going to try and ride over to hopefully find where my uncle's buried. But you're going to probably want to get around this place. If you're looking for somebody specific, there is a thing at the front office. It's a grave site finder or whatever. And evidently it's not working today. But I do have his plot number. So we're going to try and locate him. As far as the celebrities buried here, I'm not going to, you know, try and find them because that is going to be like a needle in a haystack. I could have written down their plot numbers and gone all over, but it's so large. And I know 512 acres of land probably doesn't sound like much, but when you're out here and you're walking around and the sun's beating down on you and it's hot, it's 512 acres is a lot. So yeah, hopefully we can find my Uncle Bubba laid to rest here and pay him a visit. And then we'll probably be making our way out of here. But highly recommend this beautiful cemetery. You've really got to get in the car to see it all. And hopefully the weather will be nicer for you when you visit. If you're coming to Florida for a vacation and you're doing stuff like this, I would recommend coming like in January, because it does not get cool until January. And then you usually get like 2 or 3 days and then it's hot again. So the weather is very temperamental here in Florida, but it's really, you know, it's so peaceful here today, and I'm really glad I came. Finally, because people have been saying, you got to go to Bushnell, you got to go to Bushnell, and I just hadn't gotten around to it. And I really wanted to do it on a day like today, like Veterans Day, or 4th of July, or Memorial Day. I wanted it to be one of those days. So today's Veterans Day. I want to take a moment to thank all of our veterans. Freedom isn't free, and it comes with a price. And a lot of these vets entered here, you know, paid that ultimate price so that we could have liberty and prosperity and be a free country. The American dream is still an American dream. It is still attainable thanks to these veterans who fought, and some of them who even died for it. So happy Veterans Day to all of you veterans, and I hope you're loving the episode. We'll finish up here in a minute. Let's keep it moving. See what else there is to see. AMVETS dedicated this carillon as a living memorial to America's veterans who served their country honorably for the cause of freedom. Florida National Cemetery, Bushnell, Florida, October 9th, 1993. That's what that's called. It's a bell tower. It's called a carillon. I'm probably not saying that right. But that's cool. I saw one of these at the other national cemetery we recently visited at Bay Pines. I found him. My uncle, John Irwin Edwards, Sergeant, U.S. Army, Persian Gulf. July 3rd, 1957 to June 16th, 2011. It says, loving memory of our brother. Well, Bubba, I finally got to see you.
Hey, Bubba.
Sorry it's been so long. But at least I'm here. And I know if my mama was here, she would be here too today. Today is Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day, and thank you for your service. Oh, my husband and my Uncle Bubba were in the National Guard briefly together. So everything comes for a full circle, for sure. Good to see you, Bubba. Maybe I'll come out next year in honor of you and in honor of my mom, as I know she would be here supporting you today as well. God bless. See you someday when I get there. I just wanted to show you real quick how I found my uncle, and if you're coming out here to find anyone specific, how you would do it. So there's these little markers on the side here that's in front of each section. Normally they're numbered. I don't know what MOH means, but that's part of the numbering process. So for example, my Uncle Bubba, his said section 609. When I looked him up on Find a Grave, his plot number was 609,129, and I'm going, how in the world am I going to find that? That sounds complicated. So it's easier than it sounded. So this marker here will have a number, 600, 601, whatever the number may be. And then there's going to be a section of memorials right behind it. The section of memorials, when you come up to the memorial itself, will have a number. So for example, on my uncle's marker, it was marker 609. He was in section 609, and then the number will be right on the back of the headstone at the top. And they're generally numbered in order. So it's not any crazy order or anything. It would go 1 through 100, or however many plots are in that section. And you would just follow the markers all the way till you get to your loved one, and that's how you find someone in this very large cemetery. It took a while for me to figure it out, but when I did, it was easier than I thought. I just wanted to share that with you. There was this little assembly space we were wanting to get a closer look at up here. It's probably about right in the middle of the cemetery, or close to the front. Closer to the front, I should say. This looks pretty neat. Kind of reminds me of something you would see in the front of an office building or something. Like there should be a fountain up here. Oh, it is. It's a little water thing. Not a fountain, but yeah, it is a kind of fountain. Cool. It's nice. And then has each branch here of the military honored. Coast Guard, just like my daddy. Thank you for your service, Daddy. Air Force, my husband, right here. Served 20 years in the military and ended his career in the Air Force Reserves. Here's the Navy. Navy. Wasn't your dad in the Navy? My husband's dad was in the Navy. My father-in-law, Mike Randall.
During that Vietnam War.
Thank you for your service, father-in-law. And the Army. So, very cool. We're headed out of the cemetery. Probably going to stop at a brewery on the way home. Florida Avenue Brewing Company. See you there. We're here at Florida Avenue Brewing Company. Gonna go get a drink. Thank you so much for joining me again today. I hope you loved today's episode. Again, happy Veterans Day to all of the veterans, everyone who has served, who has fought, and especially to those who lost their lives and the families of those who lost their lives, because it's always extremely life-changing to lose a loved one, especially under those circumstances. But there was a poem in the restaurant we went into, which was very unique, and I wanted to share it with you, if you wouldn't mind. I'm just going to read it to you. I've blown it up on my phone. I took a picture of it in the restaurant images, but it's called How Could It Be? And it was written in 1990 by Kevin Siglia. I can't understand just how it could be that someone would want to set fire to me. Speaking of the flag. With the heart of a bear and the wisdom of an owl, though made of fiber, I am not a towel. I fly high each day without any wings. Truth, justice, and glory are my very favorite things. Each morning I wake, and this much is true, that I am a part of every one of you. This country I see is all of me. I wear its colors true, rose red and white with all my might. All of the sky is blue. For someone to set fire to me is to set fire to you. See, I can't understand just how it is true that someone would try to set fire to you. Good times and bad we all have had, yet always a smile comes through. With laughter and cheer, we've never shown fear. Our spirit never fails to be true. Now comes a time that I'm feeling blue. So I have a favor to ask of you. Please help me find a reason to see. Why would anyone set fire to me? They say it's allowed under freedom of speech. Now let's start practicing just what we preach. Show our children now before they grow up. The American flag is not to burn up. Here's one last thing, just a final thought. Many a man have died for the flag they have fought. And on that note, happy Veterans Day. If you see a veteran passing by, thank them for their service, because they're the reason that you're able to do all of the things that you can do today and in this country. That does it for today's episode. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share the video, and I'll see you next time.